Okay, sit yourself onto a lift. Come into a good cross-legged position. And then sit yourself with levelness at the seat bones. So have a little wriggle about. Make sure that you feel genuinely level and comfortable. It takes a little while to really establish levelness. So just listen to the seat bones. Hold onto your knees and elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just look down at the floor. Look at something that doesn't move. Focus in on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations, filling your lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying them from the top to the bottom. Filling your lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying them from the top to the bottom. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Focus on continuing to fill the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom, feeling how the chest expands with the in-breath, allowing the intercostal muscles between the ribs to relax with the inhalation and for the chest to relax, the ribs to move together with the out-breath. So not holding the breath, but just consciously filling the lungs and emptying them, as though you're filling a jug of water, which fills from the bottom to the top and empties from the top to the bottom. With each inhalation we bring in energy, the energy of the universe. And that energy is absorbed by the lining of the lungs and pumped around the body from the heart, so that every living cell of the physical body is fed with the energy it needs to perform its role optimally. So the out breath is the function of removal of the carbon dioxide that the cell converts from the oxygen, which is sent back to the heart, then pumped back around the lungs, and then exhaled. And then that carbon dioxide feeds plant life, which absorbs the carbon dioxide and converts that carbon dioxide back into oxygen. So the air that we breathe beneficial to the entire planet. It's as a result of every living thing. With an exhalation, draw your chin forwards and down to meet your chest. Lift up. Lift your chest up to meet your chin. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb, a gesture of wisdom, peacefulness, and physical intelligence. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. So hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest, lifting the heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders, keeping your neck soft, just looking forwards rather than over the shoulder. Use each exhalation to intensify the turn, just staying with the breath, staying in an observance of the breath. Observance both from a mental perspective and from a physical perspective. Just observing how the breath is accommodated by the lungs and the chest and the abdomen. Observing how you can convert the exhalation into effort. Come back to the centre. Hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest, take a deep inhalation, and then turn to the left, drawing yourself across, drawing the abdomen and the ribs and the shoulders, keeping the neck still. Gently come back to the centre. Come off your lift. Sit back on your heels for Adho Virasana. Have the big toes together, the knees apart, and just get your thumbs right into the backs of your knees. Then encourage the calf flesh to draw away from the backs of the knees and roll out to the side. See if you can sit the shins into the floor. Press the shin bones into the shin skin so that the thighs activate. Make sure that you're in a good straight line along the centre of your mat. Lift up into the heart area and then come forwards, lengthening forwards, keeping the seat bones down on the heels, spreading the fingers, spreading the palms, and bring the forehead down. Bring
the forehead down, keep the seat bones down on the heels, listen to the breath. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Keeping the seat bones down on the heels, but stretching deeply into the arms, feeling how that stretches out the lower back. So my lower back is often stiff these days, but this pose is a really good way to just lengthen out that stiffness. That's how it works for me anyway. Not everyone has the same response to the pose, but it's a nice one to just open up the back entirely. Just keep focusing on filling the lungs and exhaling. The gentle pressure on the forehead helps to quieten the frontal lobes of the brain. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. Straightening the legs slowly, drawing the kneecap into the socket, pressing the front of the knee through to the back of the knee, lifting the front of the thigh up towards the top of the leg, pushing the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. So we say pushing the kneecap into the socket. It's not really a socket joint as such, but it's kind of a socket when the leg is straight. So push the front of the knee through to the backs of the knees. While you're in the pose, observe your feet, observe the feeling of action. Observe how the body is responding to the pose. Is the left leg working evenly with the right leg? Are the arms activated like the legs are activated? Or is it more action on one side than the other, or in one limb more than the other? So take some time to observe the pose and to feel that there is evenness of action, evenness of breath. Step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. And then if you've got a bad back, then you might want to do Uttanasana this way, or using the blocks how we normally do for half Uttanasana. Otherwise we're going to do full Uttanasana. So if you don't have any problems with your back, then you don't need blocks. If you do use blocks, then you come forwards with a straight back with the hands on the blocks that way. Otherwise, have the feet as wide apart as the mat. Make sure that your toes are in line. Bring your hands onto your hips for a moment and just feel that your heels are touching the edge of the mat. It's the physical intelligence, the ability to feel where the body is in 3 dimensions. Raise your arms, extend your arms up to the ceiling. And then hook the thumb into the crease of the opposite elbow, wrap your fingers around the elbows. And then as you come forwards, keep the back straight. So we keep your arms lifted, keep your head lifted. And then hinge at the hips, keeping the back straight. So we're not trying to bend from the top of the back, we're hinging entirely from the hips. So if you need to, bring the hands down onto the blocks, otherwise hang down. Just feel how this feels for you today. Uttanasana, in whether it's Ardha Uttanasana or full Uttanasana, requires deep, focused concentration and action of the legs. So feel like the legs are sprouting up out of the floor like a seed reaching out of the earth. Hit the shins back so that your weight is in your heels. Lift the seat bones towards the ceiling. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Press the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees and hang down. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. As you keep the legs extending upwards, allow the body to hang down. So keep those legs straight. Without straight legs, there's no extension in the spine. Okay, and then gently release your hands down to the floor. Just come into half Uttanasana using the blocks if you're there, or you can always bring your hands onto the shins if they're not. But keeping those legs straight. Then bring your hands into the hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into a standing position. Just move your blocks out of the way if they're there. And then come into Tadasana. Lift up into the chest. Just feel how you can spread the toes. Spread the toes, the big toes together, the heels together, tighten the kneecaps, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Tuck the tailbone in, lift the abdomen to the diaphragm. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Bring your arms out nice and wide, in towards the chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. Turn your left toes in and your right leg and foot all the way out. And then straighten the legs, tighten the kneecaps. Turn the thighs outwards, especially this front leg and the back leg. And then keep those thighs turning outwards, especially that front leg, but also the back leg. And reach up, find the shin. Remember what we did with the belt last week? We were using the belt to kind of pull the arms apart. So feel like that belt is in your hands. You're stretching actively from one hand to the other. So don't allow all of your weight to just land down on the shin. Reach up at the same time. But do make contact between the heel of the hand and the shin. So you've got somewhere to lift away from. Turn the abdomen up to face the ceiling. Just feel how your body adapts into the pose. Maybe at first there's a lot of resistance. Just work with the breath. Push your out breath into areas of resistance. Reach up, come back to the centre. Keep your arms outstretched if you can, feeling like you're pulling the belt behind the back. Turn the right toes in slightly, the left leg and foot all the way out. And then turning that front thigh, this left thigh, from the inside out, from the big toe side to the little toe side. Come down, find the shin, reach up. Turn the abdomen up to face the ceiling. Listen to the breath. Observe how the pose feels on this side. Is there the same resistance? It's unlikely that it's going to be exactly the same.
So observe where it's different. Observe your own action. Work for balance of action between the two legs. The back leg, do you lose it, or does it work as determinedly as the front leg? So you have to use your physical intelligence to activate that back leg, because you can't see it with your eyes. See it with the feeling of the pose. And then come back to the centre. Bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together. Come back into Tadasana. Breathe even deep inhalations and exhalations. Returning back into Tadasana, tightening the kneecaps, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, so it's the opposite direction. Lift up into the chest. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. Just bring a couple of blocks to the right side of your mat, but just on the edges of the mat, so you're not going to jump on the blocks. They're not going to get in the way. And then come back into Tadasana. And then you've got the blocks there, just stretch out into the arms, in towards the chest, and then step or jump your feet apart nice and wide. Bring your hands into your hips and then turn the left toes in more steeply than for trikonasana. So really try and turn those toes in as much as you can. Keep that back leg straight if you can, and then bend. So turn the front, this right leg all the way out, so that the toes are pointing directly in front. Now at this stage, this back leg hip is probably stuck a little bit. So pick up the heel and then turn that heel all the way out, so that you're kind of in Tadasana again, but the feet are kind of apart. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards, especially of this back leg, and then that will bring this back leg hip forwards. Lift up into the chest. Lift up into the chest, and then with a straight back, just hinging entirely at the hips like we were doing in Uttanasana. Come forwards, keep the head lifted, keep winging the elbows behind you. And then reach down and find the blocks. So you might not need them on the top end, but if you do this, if you kind of do this to find the blocks, then be on the top end, or put the blocks higher. Straighten the legs. Keep turning the fronts of the thighs evenly inwards. Feel that the hips are level. Project the chin and the chest forwards. If you can go down lower on the blocks or find the floor, then do. But again, without rounding the back. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Parsvottanasana. So keep the head lifted, keep that front leg straight, Andrew. You're bending your knee. So use the blocks rather than, and you're reaching quite far forward beyond the foot. Have your hands at the side of the foot. Have the hands at the side of the foot. I think you're a bit too wide actually, Andrew. Step a bit closer together. And then get the leg straight, so that back leg as well. Straighten that back leg. Go high on the blocks, high on the blocks. That's it. Projecting the chin and the chest forward. So just find where you can straighten the legs, where you can stretch the back forward. If you can lengthen the body along that front leg. Eventually bringing the head down. But to be honest, it's better just to get that base right to start off with. So no bending the knees, no bending the knees. There's lots of knees bending. Okay, bend that front knee, step forwards.
get hold of the blocks, come up into the standing position, and then come to the other side. And then come into Tadasana. So there's lots of bent knees there. If you bend your knees to come forward, so what I was seeing on that, what I was seeing was this. So this is not the right shape of the pose. So you're not trying to stretch beyond your feet. You're supposed to have your hands alongside the heel really, and then it's trying to work forwards. So if the legs are bending, then there's never ever going to be any extension in the spine. You've got to straighten the legs and then just come up. Just don't even try and go down to the floor, and just work to get the legs straight and to get the back straight. So that's the priority, rather than, kind of, you're not reaching forwards beyond the feet. It's the hands are kind of underneath the shoulders. So let's try it again on the other side. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Spread the fingers, spread the palms, just be in Tadasana. Bring your arms out nice and wide, in towards your chest, and then step or jump nice and wide. And then bring your hands onto your hips. Turn the right toes in steeply, so that kind of makes you push that hip back a little, and then rotate on the left foot. And then pick up the right heel and turn it all the way out. So at this stage, if you're too wide, then it's really hard to come forwards. So just, it's not quite as wide as trikonasana. Consciously turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. I think I'm too wide after all that. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Have the hands on your hips. And then lift up into the chest. And then hinge at the hips. Keeping the back straight. Keeping the head lifted. And then reach down and find the blocks. So everyone go to the blocks. To the highest lift of the blocks. So keep the legs straight. Without straight legs, there's no balance. So keep that back leg straight, turn the front of the thigh inwards, turn the front of the other thigh inwards as well. Lengthen forwards. So the hands are underneath the shoulders, and then really activate that back leg. So don't go down too low, Andrew, just stay on the high lift. Stay on the high lift. It's not a competition, just lift the sternum bone, lift the sternum bone. Good, the legs are straighter this time. So just breathe into the pose. Listen to the breath. Okay, and then just gently bend that front leg and come forwards, come back into a standing position. Good. Okay, so come back into Tadasana. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. Okay, I want everyone to grab a chair, and so rather than the blocks we're going to use a chair. So we're going to do that one more time if you can bear to. I know that didn't look very pleasurable for some of you, but I know you don't like it, this one, Kat. I know you don't like it, but you might like it if you got a higher lift. So use a chair if you've got one handy, and then just face the chair. Have the inner edge of the feet together, just be in Tadasana for a moment. And then you turn the left toes out and then step forwards with the right leg. Step forwards with the right leg and then just work to initially just get your balance. So sometimes I kind of use this thing, this like little banister at the side to help to find that initial balance. So tighten the kneecaps, lift up into the chest, lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm, have the hands on the hips, wing the elbows behind you, and then keep that back leg firm, keep it straight as you come forwards, and then reach down and find the chair. Again, Not reaching forwards where the hands are underneath the shoulders. So this feels much more secure, doesn't it? So it feels much more secure, and you can just work to lengthen those legs, to straighten the legs. Press the fingertips into the blocks, into the chair, and then lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm, up to the collarbone, up to the chin. Now when we're working this way, you can always get hold of the chair legs and start to slide your way down, but holding onto the chair legs firmly. But as soon as you start doing this, or rounding the back, or straightening the legs, or bending the legs, sorry, you've gone too far. So this stage just gives you stability, gives you a lot more length into the spine. Okay, and then just bend that front leg, step forwards, and then come back. So sometimes just working with this kind of much higher lift is a much better way of going into the pose. So just be in Tadasana, facing the chair. This time turn the right toes out, step forwards with the left leg. And before you reach for the chair, just find your initial balance. Lift up into the chest. Turn the fronts of the legs inwards. And then hinge at the hips, keep the head lifted. And then come down. So even though we're not going down very low, it doesn't really matter. The priority becomes to straighten the legs, to bring the hips level. So turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Lifting from the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin. And again, if you want to, you can kind of slide your hands down the chair. But, you know, just stay at this first stage just to get used to extending the spine. Lengthening the spine forwards. Feel the body in 3 dimensions, even though you're looking forwards and you can't really see any of the body. Just feel where it is in 3 dimensions. Feel that the hips are level. Okay, bend that front leg, step forwards, and then come up into the standing position. And then come into Tadasana. So, Kat, did you hate it as much that way? Yeah, it's not so, not so bad. So I think, you know, sometimes, and Andrew, how did you feel with that? Yeah, better. Yeah, good. So sometimes, you know, going down too low too quickly is a, you know, a challenge too far. So lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area up to the ceiling. Just be in Tadasana. Stretch your arms forwards, interlock the fingers, turn your palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Listen to the breath. So baddangulyasana. Release your arms. Just swap the interlock of the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Okay, and then gently release. Seeing as we've got the chair handy, just bring the chair, just stand facing the chair. And this is just a version of Marachyasana, but as a standing pose. You stand, so you're facing the chair, and then bring your right foot up onto the chair. Hopefully it's not too high. And then lift. Have your hands on your hips, lift up into the chest. Lift the abdomen away from the hips, like you did in the last pose. Extend into the abdomen, and then bring your left hand across the chest. Find the outside of the right thigh, bring the right hand into the small of the back, and then rotate the chest to the right side of the room. So you're kind of crossing over that bent knee. Keep the standing leg straight, rotating the abdomen, rotating the spine. So this is a little bit like Parsvottanasana trikonasana in some ways, but that obviously the front leg isn't bent in that pose, but you get a good spinal twist. Come back to the centre, and then just have the inner edge of the feet together, and then bring the left leg up. So when you bring that left leg up, try not to let those toes on the floor kind of roll out to the side. Keep them in line, like the legs are still in Tadasana. Have your hands on your hips, lift up into the chest, try and draw this bent leg hip away from the armpit a little, and then turn to the left. Bring your right hand over to the outside of the left thigh. Bring the other hand into the small of the back. Press in into the small of the back. Turn into the left. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Lengthening the spine up to the ceiling. Feeling that, never losing that standing foot. Turning across the knee. And then come back to the centre, release. And then just put the chair to the far end of your mat, and then come down onto your back. Come down onto your back, and then just bring your legs onto the seat of the chair, and then just rest your back into the floor. So this pose is just a very gentle, very light inversion, but a restorative one, if anything. Just let your back soften into the floor, let the lumbar soften into the floor. Keep your hands on your lower ribs so that you feel the chest expand and contract with the breath. With your hands on your lower ribs, maybe you also observe the abdominals, the abdomen's role in the breath, how it expands to accommodate the in-breath, how it draws towards the spine to accommodate the out-breath. It's all to do with the movement of the diaphragm. When we inhale, the diaphragm flattens and moves down a little, and the abdominal organs move out of the way to accommodate the diaphragm. And when we breathe out, the diaphragm lifts into a dome shape, lifts upwards, and the abdominal organs move back towards the spine. So the abdomen has a deep connection to the breath, and it's important to retain that sensitivity of the abdominal role in the breath. If you want, you can release
the ribs, and just let the arms rest over the head, just resting on the floor, just opening up the armpit chest. It feels really nice to just open up the armpits, to rest on the floor with the arms beyond the head. If you want to increase the inversion, just reach for the chair legs, bring your feet onto the seat of the chair, and then push yourself up into a little mini shoulder stand, gathering the shoulder blades together, just keeping hold of the seat of the chair. And then you can always get your hands into the back and stretch your legs up, but because there is nothing underneath our shoulders, maybe we don't get the straight line that we could if there was a lift underneath the shoulders. Just reach down and find the seat of the chair again. Find the chair legs and then guide yourself back down onto the floor. And then just bend your knees and roll to the side. Just move your chair out of the way. Just come down onto your back, pull your knees in toward your back, and then have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. If you've got a folded blanket nearby, then have that underneath your head. Just make sure you're right down the centre of your mat in a really good straight line. And then moving equipment that's in the way, out of the way. And then allow the body to release into the floor. Just let the arms and the legs completely relax, unhooking the muscles from the bone. Body, the physical body become heavy, and out of that heaviness observe the irrepressible lightness that radiates from the bones. That sensation of inner lightness that radiates from the bones and penetrates into the muscles, penetrates the muscles and into the organs. Radiating from the rib cage and from the spine and into the organs. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then gently roll over onto your right side. Stay down for a breath or two. Straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with hands in Namaste. Final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice. A good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy. Draw your chin down to meet the chest. Be conscious of that energy that you have released. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. Gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. And then gently raise your head and allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy, given yourself good, positive energy.